Brian Powell of I Run Far here with Tom Owens after his fourth place finish of the 2019. Congratulations, Tom.
Thank you very much.
That was a tremendous performance and a smart one. How do you feel about your race?
Absolutely delighted. It's my first really long 100-mile race. I had zero expectation, but the one thing I wanted to do was finish. So I did that, and I finished well. So yeah. Delighted.
And you come from in your long career, from a very short distance racing background and on the fells and trails and whatnot. Do you manage to temper yourself from the outset?
Yeah, well, it was pretty hard because at the start line the music is kind of pumping out and you get really hyped up, and then it's quite a flat run out for the first 10k or so. So it started really fast, but I just told myself, I need to hold back and take it easy, because even though it might feel reasonably slow anyway, I want to be running at the end of a 100-miler, and so I was reasonably sensible for a change. I think I did another long race, 100k in July, and it went off a bit fast there, so that was a good.
Well, we'll jump off to that topic for a bit. Like, you've run a couple races in that 100 to 125k. I think.
Yeah, TDS last year. Yeah.
So you've gone in that direction, and you've had some okay results. TDS, your longest race to date, or before this weekend, wasn't a good result.
A tough day,
yeah. Did you learn any lessons from those?
Yeah, definitely. I think. TDS was a really tough day, but I made it tougher by kind of, being in the top 10 early on. I did CCC the year before, and again, I started off reasonably fast in the top few and detonated, but kind of managed to keep it going for an okay fifth. But it was a lot of redlining for that. So I really wanted to enjoy the experience of the UTMB and get around it in one piece, and so treated it with an awful lot of respect.
Is that like a piece of advice you'd give others, whether they're elites or not, in heading into UTMB?
Definitely, yeah. I think you've got to, for me, be very, very patient, and it's amazing to see the kind of carnage along the way, and just people dropping out here, there, and everywhere, and not necessarily where you expect to see people kind of sat on the side of the trail, and and it's all mainly from going a bit fast early on.
And they were doing that at 60k probably.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, certainly. Really before Courmayeur.
And were you able to actually enjoy yourself and focus on that a little bit in the early going?
Yeah, it was all quite a new experience, like running in the dark and with a headlamp, and so I was a little nervous for that. But once I settled into it, and I kind of backed off a bit more and got even more comfortable, I really did enjoy it. The temperatures were great at night, and sunrise was really special. Kind of not being around lots, the support is absolutely incredible when you go through towns, but also being kind of solitary for large parts of the race was really incredible.
Where were you? Were you somewhere along Grand Col Ferret when the sun came up, or?
Yeah, so just starting that climb, and it really gave a massive boost. So yeah, there was a lot I really enjoyed. Running with other runners and having little chats on the way, and it was a lot of pain there too, but
well, that's to be expected. When did you start sort of giving it a little more effort?
So I think it was actually when it started to get light. I told myself I need to get to Courmayeur, which is about 70 or 80k, feeling pretty fresh, and I got there and had a massive kind of boost from the crowd and felt pretty good. So actually, maybe from there I pushed that climb a little bit. But then, I think from kind of around Col de Ferret was when I really started to move up a little bit.
There were plenty of people up there to catch.
Yeah. There was normally someone on the horizon to see. Yeah, it worked out pretty well.
Did that give you a mental boost?
Definitely, yeah.
And when did you start knowing like this was going to be a really good day?
Well, yeah, I didn't actually know my position until I got to Courmayeur, and then I was told I was in 11th, which was a big surprise. And I think that was largely due to people dropping out, because I probably would have thought I was in about 20th there. And then when I caught my friend Andy Simmons just after off the top of Col the Ferret, he said, "Oh, you're moving really well. You can probably get through to a podium if you keep that going." And I kind of didn't quite believe it, but then I guess it kind of worked away in my head and thought, oh, well, actually, I feel good energy-wise and muscular-wise, so might as well, keep it steady and see what happens.
And you've been around the sport long enough and probably follow some races or talk to your friends who've done these, that at the end of a long race like this, there's still attrition. Like, you're still going to be people dropping out or coming back.
Definitely, so. Yeah. That was the piece of advice, that kind of in that last 40 or 50k, things can change so much. Yeah. And it was really in my head that people can come past at the end or explode, and it's never.
Well, how do you keep yourself from becoming one of them?
Yeah, it's tough. I did very much try and focus on my own thing. I fell over early on, and my knees were agony for 100k or so on the descent. So I had to really just concentrate on like taking lots of deep breaths and taking one step at a time, quite literally. Wow. So just to get through that, I was fine on going uphill, but so I guess I didn't think too much about anything else apart from that.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, because you're a really good descender, so to have that compromised.
It was unusual. Yeah, normally I would have hoped to have pulled through on the descents, but it was more the other way around.
Nice. You were out there with Andy Simmons about a bit. Did you actually spend time on the trail with him out there much?
A little bit, yeah. We probably ran a few miles together, which, it was great. I thought he'd actually dropped out a little earlier. I saw someone else in a Scott outfit who dropped out, but it was Alex Nichols, actually. Yeah. So I was really delighted to see. It's sad for Alex, but I was delighted to see Andy still going. He's been running with him for years.
Yeah, you go back to it. I know you go back to 2008 when you ran Trans Rocks together, but I'm assuming you knew each other before that.
To hill running in 2004, I think. So it was great to share some miles with him, and we've done a lot of paired races and stuff. And it was great to see he was still moving well, and it was a big confidence boost, I think.
So in those final kilometers, whether it's a couple or 30 or 40, he's behind you, right?
Yeah.
And you know how strong he is. Are you thinking at all about not letting Andy catch you?
It was a strange one, because I kind of kept getting mixed reports that the Japanese runner was ahead of Andy, and people would say there's someone 20 minutes behind or half an hour behind. So actually I knew I had quite a gap behind, but I was concentrated on the guy ahead, Scotty, who was having a great run. Again, it didn't start so smooth for him, but he was charging through. But I kind of pretty much caught him at Champex Lac, or we were at the checkpoint out together.
Wow.
I just couldn't catch him, and so. But after a while, I just had to kind of concentrate on survival, and it was a kind of funny position to be in.
Were you ever tempted, when you're Champex Lac together, that's a good ways through the race? Were you tempted to almost try to reach in too much and push it?
I think I worked pretty hard to catch up to him on the climb there. So, and then when he left the aid station, I couldn't see him again, and I worked hard on the next climb, and I actually got some pretty good feedback that he was kind of a minute ahead, 2 minutes ahead, and then he was pulling away as I was losing on the descents, and he was so strong, and fair play, I just couldn't catch him.
Yeah. If I understand correctly, you were almost not going to start the race? Considering it? Was there a foot injury?
Oh, I've been injured.
When haven't you been injured?
Yeah, I've had a bad ankle for the
Yeah.
last couple of years, which is
Okay.
a really bad tendon, which it's been quite good recently, but it's very unstable.
Okay.
And so actually one of the motivations for doing this race was it was a bit, hopefully not hammering the descent so much and a bit more in control.
Yeah.
But it held up great from that point of view. No.
Did it stem from like a traumatic injury or just
It's an overuse, yeah. So it's kind of a ruptured peroneal tendon and a ligament there. So
you've been beating that up for a while.
Yeah. It's I just kind of held together with tape, and it was the least of my worries during the race, to be honest.
Perfect, that worked out. So you have been doing this for a long time, coming from hill running back in 2004.
Yeah.
How have you evolved as a runner over those years?
I don't know. I'm still enjoying it as much today as I was when I started, and I guess the sport is changing. It's getting bigger, but it's still running and trail running. I love to do new events like this, and you can't get much bigger than the UTMB.
But how does that compare? I mean, you come from I've not been to a Scottish hill race, but like a very organic, very small.
Yeah. Enter on the day and run up and down a hill and go home. I love to do both. Fell running, hill running is something that I'll always go back to. It's just so simple, and but then I love the adventure of traveling and doing new things like this. And I think it's wonderful that these opportunities out there and this community, you can kind of travel around the world and do some pretty cool events.
Is it cool that we're in a sport that there's so many flavors though? Like if you're playing golf, you're golfing. If you're playing basketball, you're playing the same game of basketball, but you can be a runner and
for sure. So many distances and terrains, and it's really motivating to do different things, and we're very lucky to do that.
So babying your tendon a little bit was one reason to do this. What are the reasons were there to either run a UTMB or just step up in distance to your first 100 miler?
Well, I think I've been running for a while now, and it's always been the big iconic event, and it happened that this year I had enough points, so it seemed and I had enough ranking to get an entry without doing a ballot, so it just seemed like a good opportunity to do it, and it was I entered without giving it too much thought, and that was me in. So it's kind of always been on the horizon, but just delighted to have actually done it.
Yeah. Was it everything you expected and hoped?
It was a massive adventure, and really emotional. It was it was incredible. Yeah.
You looked pretty excited when you were running down that home stretch.
Yeah, it was an amazing feeling to get into Chamonix, and especially with the knees and trying to concentrating so hard not to trip up with. It was really, really emotional when the support was there, and there were. It's hard.
Did you ever lose it a little bit?
Almost, yeah, and because you're just so depleted anyway, and been awake for so long, and really, really emotional and thankful, and relieved.
Relieved to be done.
yeah, absolutely.
Anything else on your schedule for this year?
No, not really. It's been a pretty kind of short season, and I think this is going to take a few weeks to recover from. So I actually get a scan on my ankle in a month or so. So that will kind of determine if I need a surgery on it, or if.
On the upside, like you've just completed a tremendous event, and heading into winter, like there's a time to.
Absolutely, that's the idea. So, I'm really happy, and I don't think there'd be anything too much more this year.
Yeah, well, congratulations on a tremendous
Cheers,
run,
Brian.
Tom, and good to
Thanks.
see you again.
Likewise. Cheers.